And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the dog back with the usual trio from 2 p.m., but it is 2 p.m., 2:04 Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time, the new start time because of my new life here, but able to get the crew together for UFC 290, and Lou making his debut in the 5 p.m. slot. How are you doing, my friend?
I am good. I'm looking forward to this card. Bo Nickel. I found some good spots I like. Always happy to break down fights with you two ball busters as I ease into semi-retirement. So let's get at it. And my boy Moy's in the chat.
Always. What up, Moise? I will be maybe using a Moise photographic tip for the second straight week. Last week with Melissa Gatto. Got us on a dicey decision with Lipsky, but still, I kind of followed the Gatto knuckles all the way to the split decision. Either way, 2 cents. I have no split choices on you. You are my choice. How you doing?
The Police, Cream, Green Day, Blink. I mean, there's power trios and then there's power trios, boys. What's going on, man? I'm very happy to be here. Good to have the band back together. Hope y'all are doing well. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Very pumped about this card. And yeah, man, very, very grateful to be here.
Yeah, it's not a bad card. It is International Fight Week, and we got the 2 title fights at the top. I do think both title fights are very interesting. Myself, I do like Yair Rodriguez more than a lot of people, but at the same point, I mean, I don't know who else Volkanovski should fight at this point, but I think that's a much closer fight. I think I'm going to say that with a bunch of lines through this card, to be honest, just because the lines are where they're at. So it might get a little redundant, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Pantoja and Moreno 3. We'll talk about all that, Bo Nickel, but we're starting on the prelims. Prelims kind of warm up a little bit, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of both guys I'm picking against in the first couple fights, so I just want to preface that. I do feel that the lines have come in a little bit, but Canuella Kirk and Esteban Ribovics is the first fight, 155. Canuella Kirk making the trip up to 155 after pulling out of his last fight with a back injury. A lot of things I just don't really like about Canuella Kirk, if I'm being honest. So right off the bat, I am going with Ribovics, but I'll try to explain why in so many words. But at the same point, it's not a fight I'm going to get too involved in. And I just don't like Canuella Kirk's inactive striking, really. I don't think that his counter striking is good enough to be as inactive as it is either. I do think he has the advantage on the ground. I think Ribovics has shown that he is able to get up from the ground pretty well. He will engage at times a little bit too much, but the way I envision this fight, I think Esteban is able to use his hand speed, and I think that's the biggest difference in the fight. I'm not sure, that if Ribovics goes for the takedowns, that Kirk doesn't fight the takedowns also. We got Jack in the chat here. What up? But overall, Kirk fractured his L5 disc. That seems bad and seems like something bad for someone who has to rely on grappling, maybe for multiple rounds. I think Esteban could be a good possible live bet candidate as well. I could definitely see him dropping the first round. I'm going to be impatient and do I'm going to do a parlay on the first 2 fights, so I won't say what I'm doing for the second fight. But if you know how I feel about Shannon Ross, you should know. But either way, I'm taking Esteban here. I do think the live bet as well could be in order because Kirk's probably going to have some. If he has success, it's going to be with the grappling early. But at the same point, I think that he believes in his back game way too much as well. So even though Esteban takes him down, he doesn't have this sort of back game that I think is just he's going to drown in either in speed kills. I like Esteban by decision or late TKO. Lou, I saw you kind of like the live bet nod. What's your thoughts on this one?
All right. So full disclosure, I jumped in on a unit on Kirk when this line started moving. And I have buyer's remorse. And the way I'm going to hedge out of this is live bet Ribovics after 1, no matter what happens. And I mean, if Ribovics just blows him out in the first round, I'll eat the unit. But if Kirk looks good, you'll get Ribovics at maybe the plus 200 range, and I can just throw a half unit on it and just get the fuck out of the fight completely. I have some questions with the Kirk side here, and this is where I'm like kind of screwed around. So he's up at this is 155, which I think is important here. I know that Ribovic's takedown defense hasn't been historically great, even on the regionals. I know that Kirk is a persistent grappler. His cardio should be better because he doesn't have to cut as much weight. But the trade-off is he's not going to have the strength to hold Ribovic down. He may not even have the strength as this fight goes on to continuously get takedowns. So I think, to your point, Kirk's going to have success early, and Ribovic's pretty tough dude, pretty durable, can crack. I think Ribovic's round 3 KO is a prop. It's only plus 800, which they're just killing me on these like round 3s. I missed the days of plus 3,500. Now I'm getting like plus 800 for a KO. It's crazy. But I favor the Ribovic side, and I think people just jumped on Kirk, and I'm one of them, just jumped on Kirk. I did it with watching the price move. I did not do it for the next fight. But Kirk being in fight, there's some things I like about the Kirk side here in terms of being at fight ready. I think the weight move up is going to be good for him in terms of the cardio, which we've seen him struggle with. I just think you can't fix the striking defense like that quick. Clint drives well, That, by the way, Noah, that is just an outstanding avatar, like a picture for you.
Oh, that's the family photo.
Yeah, that is just an outstanding picture.
That's Manpreet's foot, by the way, and knee at the top.
Okay,
in case you couldn't tell.
That is a tremendous. That's like That's a 5-star picture.
Yeah, he's a 5-star. He's a 5-star contributor. Just my 2 cents. We're split right now, which I'm kind of glad on a fight like this. I don't think this fight necessarily.
Well, we're not split.
We're split-ish.
Right.
We're split-ish. What's your thoughts on the L5 back fractured Camuela Kirk, who just threw his first strike?
Well, I can tell you boys firsthand right off the bat that someone with a bum L5 myself, that is no bueno. And if he had surgery on it, I'm telling you, surgery is like the motherfucking last option. So it was something bad. I am on Esteban. I have bet Esteban. I have him in a parlay. I like and agree with the things that both of y'all said on both sides, mostly on Esteban. I think speed will kill here. I think that what Lou said about Campbell's striking defense will come to bear. I think he's going to be slower. Yes, he will be more I do like what Lou said, though, about being at fight ready, moving up in weight. Those are all good things for Camuela. I just think his kind of like jobber tendencies are going to kind of show themselves. I think Esteban is going to – I don't think Camuela is quite as stiff of a test as Loic. Loic is kind of a jobber himself, but he's a little bit more high-end, like he has more experience. And I think I'm kind of leaning toward what Lewis said about the KO. I think Esteban, Camuela, I think, has grappling upside if he's the one that's getting the takedowns. But like you said, like when he's the one getting taken down, it's not good. Like he's not very great off his back. Esteban is more dangerous off of his back. I just don't like that he accepts the takedowns to like, he's kind of like Nurse Sultan. Like he'll like pull Kimura. Like he'll put himself in a bad spot and just be like, oh, I got the Kimura, and then they'll just get taken down. So I don't hate Kirk. Like, if you think that he's the one that's going to be getting the grappling done, but I think Esteban's going to be way quicker, and I just think he knocks him the fuck out. So yeah, Ribovic by KO.
Fair enough. I think it's actually like it's a pretty good fight to start off the card. I'm interested to see how both these guys look, but I'm with Esteban as well. I believe last time I checked, he was minus 140. Maybe minus 150. It went back up too. It's kind of been going back and forth. It's back to minus 150 plus 130 on.
Dude, I feel like a dumbass too, because like I was like, oh yeah, I think Esteban's gonna win, and I parlayed him at like minus 175, and literally less than a minute after I did that, money came in on Kirk. So it's just like, fuck man, I should have waited just like 1 minute.
We get that you moved the lines in the opposite way.
Oh, I
literally like
telling y'all what a whale I am, dude.
Well, they see you put money, and they're like, oh, that fucker believes this guy's gonna win. Let's move this in because we're only getting like the bottom chromosomes. So yeah, either way, next fight here, circus potential fight for sure. Jesus Aguilar, Shannon Ross. What the hell are we doing? Why is this on International Fight Week? Why isn't this on like an early prelim on YouTube? Honestly, this could be really, really bad. Whichever side you're on with a bet, because I did bet Jesus Aguilar. I don't think there's a fighter on the roster I dislike more than Shannon Ross. His striking defense is abysmal. He's lost to a Mukhtarian. I don't care how much bigger the Mukhtarian was than him. He's lost to a Mukhtarian badly. He lost to he's the reason that we have to deal with Vinicius Salvador in the UFC for at least one more fight. Thank you, Shannon fucking Ross. And yes, I bet Shannon Ross on the Contender Series against Vinicius Salvador. Terrible call by me. I agree. Shannon Ross ate every single strike thrown at him. I get it. Jesus Aguilar doesn't have great striking. This is club and sub all day, though. Aguilar is going to land some gross looping shot with his 5-foot frame. And I just don't rate Shannon Ross very highly. The only thing I give Shannon Ross is offensively. He's very explosive and exciting at times. And against someone like Aguilar, I think that Aguilar is going to just kind of soldier through that. I think it could also expose Shannon Ross to getting taken down quicker with some of the, flying knees and things that Ross does attempt. I just think Ross doesn't belong here and gets put away by Jesus Aguilar. I hope inside the distance. I bet Jesus Aguilar at the money line with Esteban, both minus 140s when I bet them. So, I'm just going to go with that and move on. I got Jesus Aguilar. I think he submits him, probably guillotines him. I think Ross is that bad. I just don't rate Ross at all. I don't get the Ross love. I don't get why people are betting him. I don't understand it, but they're probably all smarter than me. Subscribe to their Patreons. Just my 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm also on the Jesus Aguilar side, and I also parlayed him like when I did Esteban. So it was I could have got him at a way better price had I waited like 45 seconds, but it is what it is. I think he gets it done. I'm with you, dude. Like, I don't think much of Shannon Ross. It's not that he has bad striking defense, dude. He has a fucking like magnetic field around him that just like tractors strikes in. It just like he just absorbs them like a fucking black hole. It's like dark matter, dude. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what the stats are, but he's got to have some of the highest like strikes absorbed per minute numbers ever. Like, Aguilar is not a great striker, but I think he's gonna maybe kind of look like one. I think that even if he doesn't land, he's the kind of fighter that'll throw just crazy looping overhands just to get to the takedown, and I think he's the better grappler too. So yeah, I think he either like you said, clubs him, subs him, or just like takes him down and just subs him outright. But yeah, give me Aguilar. That's my parlay too.
What up, Pat? One of the good ones in here. Good to see you, man. Check out Addicted to Combat as well. He's always putting out good stuff. Lou, what's your thoughts on this? Are you a Ross truther?
No. Hear me out. I'm betting. So when I saw this line move, I was like, you guys know it's like Shannon Ross, right? Like, that's who you're betting on. And I know a lot of like the rationale as well. The last two guys he fought were bigger and like he's going to have a reach advantage here. And Aguilar has no KOs. And Aguilar is not a good striker. There's loopy punches, which, especially being able to reach his advantage, is not good. He's also a guy who, and I don't want to bring up names, but I have PTSD from somebody who kept jumping Gilly in a fight recently. So I don't really like when I see a guy who that's kind of his prime weapon. He also isn't great at holding people down. And Ross, if I'm going to give him credit for anything, it's like his grappling's like not awful. Like he can reverse. He's not great at top control, but he's kind of good at like somehow avoiding damage on the ground, just not on the feet. I think this goes over. I think Aguilar just grapples. I think when it's on the feet, Ross kind of just stays at distance, lands punches. He's not going to knock Aguilar out. I think you and I talked earlier in the week. I don't think Ross has any finish equity here. He's zero finish equity as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Aguilar has finish equity, but I think he needs something kind of special to happen because I actually think he's going to be just grappling. So I like the overs here. Fight goes distance to plus 155. I love. And when I have two bad fighters and I like an over, I'm betting the split decision when it comes out.
Smart.
And it's probably going to be plus 550 because it's a juice. Because every under on this card is juiced. So like for split decisions, you're probably going to get awesome prices. Yeah. And I wonder, and we'll see what the splits are from that point. Look, if I have to guess, as somebody who's bet a lot of split decisions, it's a close line. probably gonna be like plus 850, plus 950, like split. But you just take both sides, and you like. I don't want to fade a bad fighter with another bad fighter.
Mm-hmm.
For the show, I'm gonna pick Aguilar because I'm never picking Shannon Ross.
Right.
And if he wins and everybody beat the line and everybody made money on Shannon Ross, good for you guys.
Like,
Echo Chamber
yourself. Even if you pick Shannon Ross and it hit, you'd still feel a little icky about it.
Like you're still a guy who put money that you like. I mean, most people. Well, I don't know if most people in this community have jobs. I can't say that's for
real 50-50.
But the people that have jobs,
right,
means you earn money, and that means you're taking some of the money that you either earned at a job or earned through making good bets and said, like, give me some Shannon fucking Ross. And that's a weird thing to do. Like, Aaron, if you gave me $50, I'm not betting. I'm playing blackjack. Like, I'm not betting it on Shannon Ross.
Yeah, that's some fucking forever unclean shit right there.
Yeah. Yep. And Jack just realized this fight is on International Fight Week. Like, this is like one of the worst fights you can make right now.
Yeah, but it's not like people in Australia are like, dude, you know what we need? Another Shannon Ross fight.
Yeah, and not in Australia now. And he was signed after a loss, too. It's just, I'm going to say Aguilar here. I don't want to think about this fight anymore. I do like the over bet. I just hope it doesn't happen. Not because of your bet, but because I don't want to see it.
What if Aguilar subs him at 231 in the third?
Great.
Dude, he will pull Gilly at some point, I'm pretty sure. And he's got a pretty good one, though. Like, I hate when people pull Gilly, but, like, if you're not, I'm happy, thank you. You might.
Hold on. Before we move on, let's look up. Let's do something fun. Let's see what this is. This is a prop ticket. Oh, God. What a terrible number. Aguilar round 3 sub is plus 1,000. Come on, man.
If you bet that, you need help. Even for $3, that is like a cry for help.
For 0.004 units.
That is greasy with a capital G, boys.
I've got to see that.
I mean, if they were going to give me like close to 20-1, I'm like, sure. Absolutely 10-1.
10-1 in this economy?
Against a guy who's never been subbed, and with a Gilly merchant,
right?
Like, fuck that.
Yeah, it probably is. I think Aguilar by decision is probably what happens. I think he just.
I think you like to finish because you just want to see Shannon Ross in so much fucking pain.
Yeah, it's pretty true, and that's why I'm always forthright at the beginning of breakdowns when I have a very clear bias for any reason. This next fight, it's tough to unsee Terrence Mitchell versus Kai Kara France. I'm just going to say that. It's tough to believe in an Alaskan FC champion. I'm going to say that. It's bad when a lot of his fights are against tomato cans, and, I'm just going to say all that. And then it's bad when I believe that a guy who's faced a ton of adversity throughout his first 3 fights in front of the UFC, and is still like 22 years old out of South Africa, Cameron Simon, is like, He's been in all my parlays the last few weeks. I got him, I believe, at minus 350, and now it's at minus 550. Cameron Simon, if he can't get it done against Terrence Mitchell, I don't know what to really say. I think Terrence Mitchell is the worst guy he's fought in three fights at least. I think Josh Wayne Kim would destroy Terrence Mitchell. I don't know if Josh Wayne Kim still fights, but yeah, Cameron Simon here by, I believe, knockout, probably early. I hope early, but we'll see. I mean, Simon should really shine here, though. This is, the real African Cameron Simon. Lou, what's your thoughts on this one? I know you've seen Kai Kara France versus Terrence Mitchell.
Yes, and like now he's been just going like when your idea of a fight career is I'm gonna go fight in FC Alaska. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I don't need to see the tape. Like I know because I know what your goals are,
right?
And is this another setup fight? I don't mind Simon, his style, like, and I went the distance with Manny Martinez. Martinez is pretty tough. They could have stopped that fight too.
He dropped Martinez a bunch, yeah.
Now, I know you know what I'm going to do here. I sure as shit know Moyes knows what I'm going to do here. There's one bet I 1,000,000% have to bet. I don't care if Mitchell has a glass chin. This is a yam bag special, and if it's 20-1, I'm going to be thrilled. This may be the second fight ever where it's not 20-1.
They might make it 21 just because there might not be a lot of time they're expecting this fight to last.
Yeah, but Simon's not like a round one guy. Like he kind of just screws around. Like forget about the Mana Martinez fight. Like the Kozlo, the fucking Shinobi pillow, whatever is the Shinobi pillow guy.
Shinobi the pillow, Kenobi. Yeah.
But even that, like the dude was on super short notice, took like a fight on 4 days notice. He kind of screws around in the first. It's like he's making reads.
I get it. This is the type of fight where like where your coach really is like, be aggressive, show that like the bosses you're on an international fight week, make a highlight, get a bonus from UFC 290. It's gonna boost. Like this is the kind of fight that breaks the trend to me.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a way to bet it, like I mean, I'm gonna do this with a couple of these juice lines. Like, do like a same game with like Simon and like. By the way, his KO prop is like cheap. It's like minus 130 or something. I was like he has one sub, but he's not going to be grappling here. He's going to be just bonking. He's
clearly going to go for the knockout.
So I think his KO prop's like super reasonable for his money line, but I think you could just add like over a minute, over 2 minutes, like just cut that money line down a little bit.
This is Jack's thoughts on the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he's had how many fights has he had a foul in? 3?
All of them, and that's not included. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's like, for any of these people playing like these weirdo props that have never happened to a fighter, I have empirical evidence that this dude ball shots hit at a 100%
also, do you think
rate
Mitchell,
with this guy. Like
with Mitchell in this fight, do you think he's not going to look to sell a foul to try to get up early? Like he's not he can't have confidence coming into this.
I'm surprised he's not trying to sell a foul at the press conference right now.
He might. We don't know.
He should be. If he's a veteran of all these wars.
2 cents. Are you a Mitchell truther?
It's still semen season, I'm afraid. The past couple weeks, I've been setting my own lines before I look at the bookies lines to try and just like help me see what I'm feeling good about. And yeah, dude, where you bet it at was where I set Simon at like minus 350. Mm-hmm. It's not that like he like betting him at minus whatever he is now, like minus 550, whatever the fuck. It's not that like that won't hit. I think Simon will win, but it's like, why would you do that? Like, it just is probably going to weigh your parlay. It adds no value to any parlay, the money line anyway. But yeah, like Simon by knockout seems pretty reasonable. It's not that like, I don't know. I think he will like probably get tested at some point, but the kid's fucking 22. Like, and that's what I think. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but like, I think that you could attribute some of that, like some of the yam baggery to that a little bit. I'm not going to totally like make excuses for him, but yeah, I mean, it's always live. He's still a little fucking whippersnapper, so he could yam bag it up. But yeah, I like Simon to get done, probably knock him out.
Do you think there's a possibility, since he always fights in the same cards as Duplessis, that maybe Duplessis just like really enjoys it? He's like, look, I'll get you on all these pay-per-views with me, even though I don't deserve it. But you have to kick
the hornet's nest a little bit when you get in there.
But you have to kick the dude in the dick because it pleases me greatly. Like, do you think they have like
it's some little inside joke they have or something?
He's like, he's like, here's how you kick the guy. He's like, well, here's how you do it when the ref's not looking. Like, I mean,
do it like we trained.
Right.
I think that's
punt.
Minus 540, plus 390. You're almost to your magical plus 400 on Terrence Mitchell. Just wait a little longer. You can get your plus 400. I understand if you want to throw your money away. Like, do a Terrence Ross parlay. I almost said Shannon Ross, Terrence Mitchell parlay. Do those two guys. Do it. Plus 390 right now. Just not. No. Let's move on. Next fight. I think this should be mostly taking place on the feet. Maybe on occasion, Victor Petrino decides to try to test his wrestling for some reason. Because if it takes place on the feet, I think that Victor Petrino should knock him out in round 1, to be honest. Like, again, the Anton Turkulage fight, go back and watch that fight. I don't know what Vitor Petrino is doing at a few points in that fight. When he's going for takedowns early was weird. When he nearly knocks him out and then almost gets knocked out by a head kick or an up kick was weird. But I mean, it's just the kind of shots that Anton took. Anton was the bigger guy coming into that fight, and I just don't think that Prachnio has the chin you need in this fight. And his win against Cleo Roundtree, go back and watch it, is just kind of standing in front of him, not really doing a whole lot. So overall, I do think that I started on the Marcin side, honestly. I really did. I was like, and I just, after seeing the Anton fight, after seeing the Bellato fight, although that was the second time he fought Bellato, so I do think when you fought a guy and knocked him out before, there's a little bit of a comfort in the fight. Yeah, I do. I could see Prachnio kind of just karate stancing, kicking in and out, avoiding the fight and weighing a decision. If Petrino kind of gets mesmerized by it, we've seen a few guys kind of have those off performances, but I like Petrino. I like him by KO. I started the Prachnio side until I did watch the tape, and I do think Petrino's the type of guy who's still getting better, more confident. I don't think he needs to test out the wrestling here, but if he does, I don't think he'll have much of a problem from Prachnio there either. Might keep him from, slow him down in the later rounds. So I like Petrino. I like him by KO. Round 1. 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm on Petrino as well. I'm not really interested in getting involved in this fight from a betting standpoint, but I think it'll be entertaining. I'm gonna sit back and watch it. I get the angle or the take of, well, Prachnio has like you said, kind of like mesmerized a couple guys, but if you look at the guys he did that to, it's Khalil Roundtree and William Knight. Like, Khalil is such a Jekyll and Hyde type dude, and sometimes he's a fucking head case. Like, Petrino's 25. I think he's going to come in and just fucking starch him. Like, Prachnio, when he does have success, it's because guys are kind of just like, they play that point fighting game. I think Petrino is the type to kind of like bite down on his mouthpiece and just get pissed and just storm forward. And I think he does something just like that. So I'm going to say Petrino knockout in like the first or second round.
Yeah, an 8-year age difference also in this fight.
He does have, like you said, the chin of Prachnio too. Like, it is dodgy, and I think people are going to kind of be reminded of that in this one.
Yeah, Petrino's got heavy hands for sure. Lou?
Yeah, I'm Prachnio. Just make it unanimous. Just want to add 2 things. So
Petrino, you mean?
Yes. Sorry,
Okay.
what did I say?
You said Prachnio.
No,
You said literally the other person.
No.
That Freudian slip.
I mean, William Knight sucks. The Roundtree fight was weird. But the fight you guys didn't talk about was the Lins fight, where the ref literally told Felipe Lins, who's not knocking anybody out, he's not hurting anybody at this point. He basically told Lins, if you hit him one more time, I'm stopping it. And then Lins just backed off. So that should have been a finish against Prachnio as well. And the one thing I'll say about the Pleasure Man fight, I don't know what he was doing with some of the grappling, but he did get out of some bad spots. But my God, does Turkali have a chin? Because a lot of those shots should have knocked him out. And like, dude's just tough. So Prachnio can't withstand half the shots that he gave. And they're clean shots, man.
I agree.
These weren't like, he's efficient.
I'm not bothered that he went a decision, because I'm pretty sure that was Petrino's first decision anyways. And like,
but he was trying to finish him. Like, he wasn't.
He absolutely wasn't. He didn't look bad at the end of the
Anton isn't a terrible fighter anyway. People love to hate on Turkali. I don't think he's that bad.
No, we hate him because of his name.
Yeah,
because we hate him because he calls himself the Pleasure Man. But he's competent. He's a competent grappler. But like, that's the thing, is I don't know if Turkali a bad grappler, because he had Petrino in some bad spots. Petrino kept getting out, like turning into like these body locks and like landing on top, and like, so did he do good work, or is Turkali just kind of rudimentary? Like, it's really hard to say, but he still did the things you're supposed to do. He still survived bad spots. And on the feet, it was just one-way traffic from a guy who, I know Turkali's regional tape was like 8 minutes for, the 5 fights for the Contender Series, but dude was blasting people, and he just was getting owned here. So I don't think Prachnio could take 1 or 2 of these shots from Petrino. So
I agree.
I'm not doing round 1 KO because it's like plus 175. Just not enough being on the bone. But whatever like the round 1, round 2 KO is, if I'm getting even money or something like that, I think this fight gets out in a second. I'm an idiot for betting it.
Yeah, minus 285 juiced to Petrino. Prachnio back at plus 240 now. I do think it gets done. I think it gets done early, so I like the first round as well, but that price is rough. Next fight, got a good price here. Tatsu Taira taking on Edgar Cherez, however you pronounce it. I'll just be interested to see how Taira kind of, responds after, the first round. I don't see this fight ending in the first round. I don't know what that's at exactly, but I just think that there's very little chance of that. I think Cherez is much better starter for one. And I do think he'll, feel confident enough to test it both on the feet and in the grappling with Taira. I just think over the second and third round, Taira is going to wear him down and get a finish in some stance or another. I'm taking a few contrarian finishes on the card of fighters who I do think are going to get the finish. I think it's going to be a Taira second or third round KO, but Cherez, Moist says just took it. Cherez live in the first round. I don't know if I would say that, but I definitely think live to keep it much more competitive and possibly even win a round over Taira. So short notice coming in here, nothing to lose. And I think he's going to, bring it to Taira. I just think Taira is going to be much more concerned with kind of taking the first round to gauge his opponent more than go for the finish. But we'll see. Finish by Taira would impress me. I think KO late. So that's where I'm at. Luke?
I also like the round 2, round 3 for Taira. I'm waiting for the fight starts round 2 to come out. I like the over 1.5 at plus 115. I like all these things. Taira's pretty patient. And the only reason that he had a first round finish against Aguilar is that Aguilar bonks him and then immediately goes for guillotine. But the fight got on the ground within a minute. It didn't require Taira to use his striking or do a slick back take. The fight was there. And Taira's patient and he's holding on and he knows as soon as he gets out, he's getting the back at some point, and that's going to be it. I do think he's going to get a KO one of these days. I'm not willing to risk it here. Shires is pretty tough, and also, if this gets I feel like if Taira, it's not one-way traffic for Taira. He just as soon as he sees the neck, he's like, all right, get me out of here. I'm done. But I do like it to take a little more time. Shira's never been finished in the first round either. I mean, look, I know it's a big step up for him, but dude's been tough. He's been rocked in the first round too. So. Yeah, Taira round 2, round 3, even just without the method, you're really cutting down this number. So, yeah, he ducked Cledson,
Yep, Jack, I agree. Make that Clayton fight because I was way more interested in that one, but I don't mind Edgar, but I think he's over his head here. 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to make it short and sweet. I think it is a happy thank you by – I like the finish because I think that with guys that are like short notice replacements, and particularly guys that are like that in a big spot, they do kind of you're getting this big opportunity, and they do kind of go for it in the first round. And so I think that Cherez will kind of do that. Maybe not be completely spent, but I do see Taira taking over late. And I like that KO. If he gets on top of him and Cherez is being ornery and just not giving up the sub, Taira's got pretty heavy ground and pound. Just smash his fucking face in. So, yeah, I'm happy. Thank you by second or third round. Finish something. Sub. GMP.
Yep. Minus 1,000.
$2 million.
Minus 1,050 billion cajillion dollars.
Can we teach him poison mist like every Japanese wrestler ever?
Sure.
The Great Muda. Just heel turn poison mist. If he's ever having a struggling fight, just get DQ'd by green mist, and it'd be like, well, I didn't get knocked out.
You got to make it colorless.
No, it's got to be the green mist, or if he's serious, it's a title fight, red mist, because the red mist will hospitalize you if everything I know about pro wrestling is true for 6 months. You're in a hospital, you're blind, can't see your kids, can't enjoy the pleasures in life. So we need to teach Taira the poison mist.
Yep. So red mist is minus 1,050 plus 700 to Edgar. Edgar, only 27 years old himself, so could be interesting down the line, but tough debut for him here. We're redoing Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menifield because I guess we just got to see it again. Menifield should have had that fight ended in the first round. Both these guys like just kind of are constantly overbelieved in, and it's interesting how it happens. But for whatever reason, I was able to get Alonzo Menifield at plus money. I feel that nothing has really changed from the first fight here, except that Alonzo is more aware of the takedown entries of Jimmy Crute, and Jimmy Crute is more aware of what it feels like to get hit by a not gas Alonzo Menifield. I get it, the gas tank is questionable, but I just think that Menifield gets KO inside of 2 rounds here. So I like Alonzo by KO. I got him at plus 100. I'm still where he's at right now, so even money. Alonzo, why not? I'm trusting what I saw from the first fight. I get it. Jimmy had his moments, but that fight should have been stopped. Just my 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
Yes, boys, I have a confession to make. I think that I might have a problem because I keep doing things that I say that I'm not going to do. Like on Monday, I said that I was going to not fucking touch this fight, and I touched it. I touched it, and I'm on the Menifield side. I went when I made like this line for myself. I had lined it even money, and then I kind of like remembered what happened in the fight, and I made Menifield a slight favorite, so I lined him like minus 150, and then I saw that it was like even money, and then it became plus money, and then when it became plus money, I pulled the trigger. So he is in my little 3-piece with Esteban and Jesus Aguilar.
Oof.
But I just like, I don't know, I like to sweat. I just, like I said, I think I have a problem, but you know, it is what it is. So that yeah, I like Menifield. I think that I understand and it's perfectly reasonable that like every fight's different. Crute, you know, it's reasonable to think that he'll make the adjustments. But I think Menifield will too. And I think he kind of like, I think he'll, okay, well, I know what Crute's going to do now. But I don't know, like Menifield and Crute are like pretty much going to be the same guy. Like I know every fight's different, but like I know this about Jimmy Crute. Like he doesn't have very good fight IQ. I think he's still a young fucking knucklehead. Menifield, yes, I get the angle. He's a little bit older. Like he might go in just think he's going to knock him out, and it doesn't happen. I understand that. I'm not saying Crute doesn't have any like path to victory. Like he's the better grappler, but Alonzo has better takedown defense than he gets credit for, and he's just that power ain't going nowhere, dude. And Crute will stand and bang with him. I think for long enough to get sparked, and because I think that he'll feel that. Oh well. You know, if I had a little bit more time and if he hadn't grabbed the fence, and I don't know, I just think it's weird that a guy that like pretty much almost got knocked out is the favorite. But yeah, give me Menifield and I'll be sweating the fuck out of it.
The guy almost got knocked out, a point taken off, and yeah, the Crute needs to fight smart. Camp. The last time we heard this with a favorite was I think a guy named Cody. So sorry, but yeah, Cody just needs to fight smart here, and he'll smoke SD. That's all he needs to do, and he did not. So, Alonzo hates the Carlton reference. Good to know. I didn't know that was a reference that was established. But first time I heard it, it was funny. Lou, I knew you stole that, Justin. That was way too funny to be from Justin. Lou, what's your thoughts on this one? Are you on Crute Island with Noah in the portrait?
No, I took but I'm playing the under 1.5 again. I'm not scared off. It was so juiced last time. Now it's minus 115. It's my biggest bet at the moment. It's 2.3 units. So Jack said it best. Oh, if Crute fights, but when has Crute ever done that? So why are we assuming he's going to do it now? And with Menifield, I think Menifield, look, man, he's predictable. He's limited. But the things that he's good at, he's good at. He's good at throwing power. His takedown defense is decent. And as far as his cardio, I don't give a shit about his cardio because I'm betting the under. So I don't care about his cardio. I hope his cardio sucks. I'm not impressed with Crute's cardio. And the thing is Crute has to work to get Menifield down. So it's just cardio that Crute doesn't want to expend. I under 1.5 is my prime bet. The Menifield KO's plus 400, which is a crazy, or it might be around 1 KO is the plus 400, which I think is a solid price.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen heavyweight round 1 KOs against chinny guys that were like even money or minus money. I don't think the round 1. I think fight to end in round 1 if you just is good too. But I'm under 1.5 is one of my best bets in this card.
I like it.
And if you like Crute, I get why. Like Crute's certainly the better more well-rounded guy. I get it, but he's stupid, and I can't do it.
I like the under, though, because it's not crazy to think that Crute would, like, reactive power double leg him and then just get on top and take his back and try to choke.
I mean, Crute, if you told me Crute won in 2 minutes, it's not like it's a total shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you also told me that Crute decided to not shoot takedowns in the first round and got bonked, that also would not shock me. So under, to me, safer than a side. And if the fight gets extended, I don't know that I don't think Crute has like a cardio advantage either. I think they both like just kind of, it becomes who wants it more. Well, yeah, just it's a push at that point for me.
Yep, fair enough.
And this is the second of the yam bag parlay with Simon. Like,
okay.
100%.
I like it. Yep, minus 120 to Crute, plus 100 on Menifield. Yam bag parlay engaged. All right, next fight. One of the dogs I see a lot of people on this week. Denise Gomes taking on a Yasmine Juragate guy, whatever. Yasmine versus Denise is what I'm going with the rest of this breakdown. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Yasmine gets into some brawls. Denise also does. I'm not really sure why Yasmine is to the size of the favorite she is, but at the same point, I just, as a result, didn't really look into this fight that closely because I don't like what I've seen on Denise that much either. But at the same point, I do think that she's getting better like a 22-year-old, 23-year-old does, especially in women's MMA. And there's no juice favorite here that I would bet on in the strawweight division, especially. So I guess I have Yasmine, but it's just like I'm not paying much attention to this fight. I think that probably is just a decision, but again, maybe she knocks her out. Denise has power as well. Like, I don't know. I'm not interested. So if one of you guys can tell me a reason to be interested in this, I'll be more so. Lou?
I took the dog shot, but small. But the play I like better is Gomes plus 3.5 at plus money. It's plus 120. She is young. She's learning. I know Bruna Brazil's not. She's barely UFC caliber, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that she's going for takedowns. And also, she fights for your money. She's a dog, man. She gets hit. She can take abuse. The Loma fight, look, man, Loma's a tough fight for your debut. She did all right. Like, Loma has her like limits, but Loma's still kind of improving.
She's tough for sure. Denise is tough.
And Gomes hung in that fight big. Like, I thought on the ground she was getting reversals. She was landing a lot of shots. She was eating a lot of shots. That's the problem. But I don't know that Yaragüi's hittable. So can Gomes like hit her and move in and get her down on the ground and just kind of win minutes? I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that she pulls off a win here, but to think that she doesn't win a round at plus money for her to win one round, and she's not getting 10-8'd. If she gets knocked out, she gets knocked out. There's no 10-8 round here for me. Like, she either gets knocked out, she's not going to get like dominated on the ground and like putting chokes for 4.5 minutes. Like, if she doesn't get knocked out, I think Gomes is live on the feet. She's still going to be improving. I actually trust her to make more improvements than Yaragüi at this point.
Yeah, so, I mean, Yaragüi is the dreaded, just another. Yeah, it's interesting. They're at 24 and 22, so it's very close.
I mean, the Lucindo fight was weirdly close, I thought.
Yes.
And then Estela Nunez, like, she tried to take Nunez down, couldn't get her down. Nunez stinks. Like, I think Gomes is like, their strength of schedule is comparable, and I think Gomes has looked better. So give me Gomes, and like, I may take a poke on this split decision prop though.
Yeah. Well, that might be something I could get interested in. It's a split decision. I do think this is a split candidate.
I can look it up while 2 cents.
Yeah,
goes.
definitely.
I'll tell you what the price.
2 cents. Do you have a strong feeling on Yasmine or Denise?
I have a very strong feeling, and I don't know what it is, man. The Lou's return is like we're on the same page on a lot of these. I took a little poke on the dog here. I do think Gomes is a fucking dog. It's not that, like, it's fair to line Yaragüi or Yaragüi, however you pronounce her name. It's fair to line her as the favorite. But that much of a favorite, dude. Lucindo and Estela Nunez are fucking jabronis. And Estela Nunez fucking sat her on her ass. So to think that Denise Gomes can't do that is a little bit crazy. And yeah, they're both young. And yeah, she lost to Luma, but she's like the best fighter that either of them have faced in either of their fucking careers. So yeah, plus 300. Yeah. It's just like purely a number thing. It's not that I don't think that like Yasmine can win, and I do, and I like what Lou's saying about the split, because if it is close, bet your sweet asses they're going to rob Gomes. But yeah, I think she's going to hurt her, because I think that Hargui is going to be all charged up. It is a lot of her countrymen and women or whatever are on the same card. And yeah, I think she's going to go out there and try and prove her toughness. And dude, Gomes can crack. And yeah, Yasmine is very hittable and got sat down. She really fucking fought nobody. Like I said, the two people she has fought in the UFC are jobbers. So yeah, plus 300. I took a stab. Let's fucking go. Denise Gomes. Maybe by knockout, but God, don't fucking rob her, please.
Well, do you want to know what these splits are?
Yeah, lay it on us.
Fight to end in splits plus 500. Yargui is plus 700.
Great.
Denise Gomes to win by split plus 2,000.
Hold
Give me a poke on that, man.
Poke it.
little stabberoonie.
Yep.
For plus what? Like in a fight that I think goes the distance pretty often.
Yep.
If she gets takedowns, that split is super live.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I'm Ben. That will be my bet for the fight. Right now, I'll tell you, Denise almost talked her way into the Zhongli parlay with how you guys were talking about her, but she's not in the Zhongli parlay. But don't worry, that will be coming at the end of the show. Should be an interesting one. Second from the top on the prelims here, Jack Della Maddalena taking on the muscle hamster Josiah Harrow, who's like a 165er who's moving up to 170 to take on Jack Della. Tell me if you've heard this story before. Does it sound like Pete Rodriguez? It's kind of like Pete Rodriguez. It's a guy who shouldn't yet be at this level. He's fought one time in the LFA. Mostly likes to go to the grappling, so that's where he's going to go. He's going to be severely outsized, outmatched, outgunned. First round KO, Jack Della Maddalena. There might be a few first round KOs I can string together for a parlay by the end of the week. Maybe I'll do a 1-1-1 or something like that, but this guy is one of them for me. I just think that Josiah Harrow could eventually be good at 155 if he got his weight cut down, but he's kind of a tweener anyways. And I just think that unless he has tremendous success with the grappling and is able to snatch a neck very early, there's zero chance for him in this fight. So Jack Della is nearly minus 1,000. He will be soon, I'm sure. I'm sure the KO prop also sucks. First round KO probably even sucks. I mean, there's probably not much of a route here to bet Jack Della, but yeah, Jack Della. And no, he's not in the Zhongli parlay. I did avoid Jack Della. I did avoid Bo Nickel. I did avoid whoever else, the other juiced person.
Dude, I'm so stoked for the Zhongli this week.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got two underdogs in it. I'll say that.
Woo!
So, what's your thoughts on this one? 2 cents?
Ditto, Della, KO. Yeah.
That's fine. I'm honestly fine with that being a breakdown. Lou, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yep. And the same. And the one thing I don't like about Harrell even worse than short notice is, from the tape I've seen, he's not a fast starter.
No, he's not.
And this is probably not the guy you want to be a slow starter against. So Jack
not
Della,
a guy whose nose is the shape of an S from his first two.
You know my whole thing about I don't like betting finish props against undefeated regional guys. I'm willing to make an exception here.
Yeah, so is the odds. They're probably like minus 125 on first round KO.
Yeah, JDM by death.
Yep. It's moving on to the next fight. What's the money line at? Is it over 1,000 yet here? Is it so minus 950? It's really tempting you right there. But either way, featured prelim time. Circus, cue the circus. We got Robbie Lawler versus a 33-year-old Nico Price. Nico Price is 33 years old. I don't care. He gets his brain scrambled every fight. and he has ringworm coming into this fight or something not right, and it looks disgusting. It's on his arm. Photographic evidence already confirmed my plus 225 bet on Robbie Lawler, not plus 220. Robbie Lawler money line. I bet it out of principle because I think Nico's going to try to wrestle at points in this fight, and Robbie Lawler is actually a good defensive wrestler. And so I do think, if Nico tries to get to grappling engage, I don't think it's going to really work and help him in this fight. And now you just got two guys throwing it down, possible split candidate as well. But I think Robbie lands the bigger shots and edges out a decision, I'm going to say. I know that this fight is probably juiced to finish. This is a juiced over that I would love to be on. And Jack on Jack Della Island over there. Oh, definitely. But yeah, I got Robbie Lawler at plus 225. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Nico Price is like one step away from retirement himself, just forced retirement. So, Lou?
Yeah, I took the poke on Lawler too. Thanks for shading me with the fact that I only got plus 220 on my bet. You brought something up that I think is interesting. You're like, if Price goes to the grappling, Price has landed one takedown in his last 9 fights. Lawler's landed one takedown in his last 11 fights. So I think it's safe to say this is going to be on the feet. And not only that, but like, I wanted to know how Price did in the Cerrone fight, because I think that's the most comparable one here, where he's like, I'm facing a legend. He just wants to have a scrap.
Yep.
He fucked around. And, it was a weird fight. I think I lost a lot of money on the under here.
Yep.
So I'm with you. And like, I don't really want to touch this total. I'm happy just to take the shot on Lawler. I know he said he's retiring. I get it. And they're like, well, Barberena was a bad look. Yeah, but Barberena is like a better striker than Nico Price. Nico Price really isn't a good striker. And do you remember the last time Nico Price even won a round in the UFC? Because he's not a guy that wins rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when does he ever won a round decisively where you're like, oh, he absolutely. I mean, look, by the way, I know he has, like Pereira round 3. Like, I get it. He's won rounds. But in general, the guy is not a guy who wins rounds at the UFC level. Like, he's a guy who gets meme finishes. He has
no defense himself.
Like, he was Duplessis before Duplessis was Duplessis.
Okay.
They're similar in terms of like the meme way they win. I think Lawler like just won't fall for any of this crap and can KO him. So I have a small bet on Lawler.
Yep.
I'm good with it. I'm rooting for him. And the ringworm thing, I hope it doesn't get canceled. Like,
again, I don't think this fight will happen, but if it does, great. And that means that Nico is at a disadvantage from a physical perspective to me. Lawler plus 225, I can sleep well with that. 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
God, dude, speaking of fucking Always Sunny that we were talking about before this started, dude, that's so disgusting. Nico Price with his fucking Matthew Mara rickety cricket fucking ringworm everywhere, dude. That's so nasty.
Yeah. Man,
this one for me is tough because I've been on record many times saying that Robbie Lawler is one of my favorite fighters. I'm going to pick Lawler for my soul and for the culture, because if this was 5 years ago, Robbie Lawler would fucking destroy him. Like, it would be a levels fight if it weren't for Robbie's age and, like, unfortunately, like, his durability. Nico is not the better striker. Robbie is the cleaner boxer. I just don't like his chin, so I'm not going to bet it. I don't have the sack, but I love the underdog bet. Robbie is a dog. Robbie will fucking scrotes my goats, fight for your money. And yeah, I agree with the point that Nico isn't quite the striker that old Bam Bam is. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm gonna ride
Nico Price minus 260.
I don't know. That's what I like.
In this economy,
I don't like it. I don't like it, but that's what I would line it at, because just because, like, I think I fucking hate that Robbie, like, pretty much, like, was on the verge of retirement. Now he says he's going to retire. That's such a big fade for me in general. So I'm not going to bet on it. I'm going to pass, but I'm going to pick Robbie, dude. I won't be able to live with myself if he fucking chins Nico, and I at least didn't get it right on Tapology. So pick his Lawler, passing. War, ruthless, baby.
Can I ask you guys a quick question before we move on that I think
absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding.
So, like, I get it that, it's supposed to be a business and we're in the business of making money. Like, and I get that. But is it really a problem just like taking a small bet on fighters that you love? Because the chances are you love these guys because A, you like their style, and B, they have made you a lot of money in the past. Like, you're just giving back some of the money you've made on them over time. Like, if I lose my my $20, $30 bet on Lawler, okay, I make that in a week. Like, it's no problem. It's just a week's worth of work I got to do. But, like, I'd rather have the bet on Lawler than bet Nico Price and root for a guy that I really like to lose. Or, like, I don't realize I could lay off.
I get what you're saying.
But,
no,
like, is there a problem with that? And, like, in this business of you got to be perfect and
you just have to acknowledge it when you do it. That's all.
Right. Exactly. And it's not crazy, dude. Lawler is definitely alive. He's a fucking dog. Look how like competitive that Barbarina
fight was. He's not a bad defensive wrestler. He doesn't use his wrestling offensively. I get that, but he's not bad defensively.
He has better hair in this picture.
If they're just boxing, dude, Lawler is the better boxer. Like he can fucking slip and rip and like roll his shoulders all day.
That's a great Matt Brown versus Court 2.0. I mean, I get Nico's only 33, but that's a
also before we move on, a quick point, like Nico just got knocked out like 7 months ago.
True. So. Yep. Minus 260 on Nico Price, plus 220 on Robbie Lawler. So a little bit of money came into Robbie and moved that line 5 points. Sorry, everybody. But next fight, Bo Nickel is a minus 2,400 favorite. There's not really anything to talk about here. Val Woodburn is supposed to be on the Contender Series. He owns a landscaping company. He's 5'7" tops. He swings hard. We haven't seen how Bo Nickel reacts to getting punched in the face yet, but I don't think we're going to see it in this fight either. So Bo Nickel, round 1, sub, but I'll actually say KO. He doesn't have a neck. KO. This is super scientific stuff here. 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
Dude, I love that. I love that delay. Sub.
And then I switch it right to KO.
Dude, that was hilarious. Fuck, I don't know, man. I think that it would be funny if Val did like hit the Hail Mary and clip Nickel.
It would be so
just
funny.
Like Nickel's toes are curled like the fucking wicked
International Fight Week centered around
dude.
Val Woodburn. That's how they wrote it up. They're like, yes, we have our guy, Val Woodburn.
I would love it for landscapers everywhere. Cost me my damn L5. But nah, dude.
Agapova line, this is. Oh boy, we might have our Shayna Dobson.
Nickel will win. He will win by sub or maybe GMP. But I just think it would be funny if he got knocked out, but he probably won't. He'll probably smoke it, dude.
I agree with all of that. Lou, what's your thoughts?
Bo Nickel by round 1 sexual conquest. Next.
What's that line, Dad?
Even money.
Even money. Okay, you got
it. Yeah, give me the name of the sports book that is giving you that line.
By
I want the name of that book.
Bo Nickel by sex at minus 105. Round 1.
And then Alex Ramirez taking notes on that. Okay.
By the way, when I say the only time I've ever bet a guy to win by sex was every Jelton Almeida fight. By sex.
Yep. Fair enough. We're moving on to the next fight. This is a good one. I think this is one of the best fights on the card, honestly. And I think people are counting out my boy Dan Hooker a little bit too much. I am not betting Dan Hooker. I will say that right now. I don't know where I really fall on this fight because I could see Jalen, Mr. Turner, coming out and just using those offensive tools and bullying him like he has all of his teammates. And there's the Hooker chin questions, which, it's been a while since he was knocked out. It's been a while, but he's been knocked out a couple times, including at 155. And then had that Puelas fight that doesn't really prove a whole lot to me. So with this fight, I think Hooker has shown in the past when he's out-dueled in the striking that he will go to the grappling. And that is one of the things I really do like about Hooker in that spot. It's also why I'm not running to bet him because I'm like, oh, he has to grapple and avoid his chin getting exposed, especially early when Turner really, can, build a lead and everything. don't think that I do think Turner should be a favorite. I think he should be about 100 less favorite, though. And I think Hooker, as veteran savvy, I think as the fight goes on and he gets more and more confidence in there, I think he can really flip the line and start looking better and better. But if it starts out bad, it could be that boulder down the hill for Jalen Turner, and he looks like a minus 500, and everybody's parlays are great. But Jalen Turner's in everybody's parlay, and that gives me a lot of pause against the guy in Hooker who's been way more tested, has faced better adversity. And I think after the initial takedown attempts, Turner's kind of submission game goes away. So for me, I got Hooker by decision, but I can't get there to bet it yet. And I think Turner by finish is completely reasonable. I get people taking a stab on the sub as well. I know it's paid off before, but I do think that Turner's most likely to knock him out here if he does win. That's not a hot take, I know. But I got Hooker by decision. Lou, what's your thoughts? I think this is a really good fight, too. I think this could be fight of the night.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this, but you mentioned you think it's going to be the fight of the night, and there's always
I think it could be.
There's always that one fight on the main card of these things that seems like a really easy under, and it just gets weird. And I could see this fight being that fight that just gets weird, and all these people rushing in the window for Turner in the distance. His knockouts and his submissions are against super low-level guys, in my opinion. Riddell is limited, and Riddell's shot, I think, at this point. Malarkey's shot. Bork Weaver stinks. Like, now he faced Gamrot. Look, Gamrot, to me, is levels above Hooker at this stage of their career. No doubt. And Turner absolutely had some moments in that fight. The problem is, as Turner goes up in competition, he's seeing things that he just hasn't seen, and these old problems of his striking defense being bad are going to plague him. I think this is going to be a weird fight that goes a distance. I'm not touching the over, though. I'm getting weird vibes all around, so I'm just a total pass for me. I'm going to pick Turner for the sake of the show. If you like him in the distance, round 1, round 2 is minus 110 for Turner, which I think is completely reasonable because every time Hooker's been finished, it's been inside of 1 round. Mm-hmm. And Turner's last 4 finishes, I know this is a little wiki capping, but Turner's last 4 finishes have all been in the first 2 rounds. So for Turner, it's like if it happens relatively early. And with Hooker, he gets bonked and he's dead. One of those finishes for Hooker, by the way, was the Makhachev fight where he's like, pay me and I'm out. So but the Arnold Allen one, and I don't rate Arnold Allen. I think Arnold Allen's like good striker, but he's just, that's it. He's limited. Turner's not limited to striking. The last thing I'll say is I was surprised the reach advantage is listed as the same. Turner just looks like he's 3 inches taller. He just looks like such a massive dude at this weight. And I'm surprised they have the same reach. So,
Yeah.
I hope Hooker's okay for the damage he took in the Puelas fight.
Oh yeah.
When Puelas
I took more damage. I took more damage watching that live. 2 cents. Which side are you on? Whose side are you on?
Don't listen to me, audience, on this fight because I'm biased going both ways, both against Dan Hooker and for Jalen Turner. Like, I've always kind of been a Hooker detractor and kind of a Turner, like, I wouldn't say I'm like a stan, but I usually like back him in spots where other people are kind of fading him. But I like Turner here. I think this is another one where speed is going to kill. Turner doesn't have, it's not that I can't see like Hooker knocking him out. Like, Turner doesn't have the best chin. And I could like the scenario that Lou was kind of laying out where it goes, you think it's going to end in knockout or finish and it goes over or goes to the cards. Like, I don't hate that either. I'm not betting it for that reason. I do think it could get a little wonky and weird and shit. So I'm going to stay away. But I do think that Hooker is another guy that, like, he just likes to be a tough guy. And I think Turner is the faster striker. I think he, especially with the boxing, I think he gets to the target a little quicker. I think he knocks Hooker out.
Fair enough. Hooker Island here. I have not bet it, though, so how confident am I in it? Really? He's lost 12 times at this point as well. 5-year age difference. So definitely some things going for Jalen in this one. I do think they're hoping Jalen wins if I had to say with this main card. I think they have a few underdogs they'd like to have win, including this next one. I do think that Dricus Duplessis facing Duplessis, whatever, facing Adesanya is what they want. And I think that because they could easily put this fight as a main event and made it 5 rounds to really answer some of the cardio questions of DDP that he's already answered himself, I think, in some of these fights, like the Darren Till fight and other fights where the dude just looks weathered. He looks worn out by the end of fights and just gets away with things in a lot of these fights I think that he wouldn't get away with against a guy like Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles. So my pick is Robert Whittaker, but I hate this line, and this one to me is a split decision candidate. I definitely could see Bobby getting robbed, then giving it to Dricus by split. So I think this is a split candidate as much as any fight on the card. I could see Dricus maybe landing the more powerful shots while Bobby could, double him up. But the way he fights sometimes, like, judges don't know what they're seeing. And I feel like could be like, oh, he's not hitting him that hard with some of these shots. And Duplessis is going for trying to bring the fight and I could just see the split decision fuckery here. So minus 400, Robert Whittaker sucks. That price, not him. I would love to see the finish, though. I do think that Bobby knows that he has to get a finish to have a chance at a title shot. And even then, it's going to be tough, I think. But if he just goes out there and has just a professional decision, which he could easily do, it just does nothing for his career at all. If anything, it makes it harder on him. So it's just a bunch of weird shit with this fight. I could definitely see a split still. But I like Bobby Knuckles here by decision, if I'm being honest. Not looking to bet it in anything but maybe the Zhongli. But 2 cents, what's your thoughts on this one?
I really like this fight, but there's a lot of narrative surrounding this one in particular, but it's kind of weird because we already know that the fans want to see Dricus versus Adesanya. I think the UFC knows that too, but it's like they could have made that fight. Like, I don't see why Dricus necessarily has to fight Whittaker. Whittaker's already lost to Adesanya twice, so it's like, if you really want Dricus, if you really want him to be the dude, why are you risking his toughest test yet? I mean, I understand it from like a purist standpoint. Like, yeah, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Like Whittaker, other than Adesanya and Poatan, he's that dude. So that's weird. And also, it's not like the UFC ain't in the business of making trilogy fights. Like, we're about to see one coming up here. They did it with Adesanya and Poatan. They did it 4 fucking times with Moreno and Figgy. So the narrative is kind of like, I don't really know where I fall on that. But as far as just the matchup itself, I'm someone that has been looking at Dricus with a side eye since he came into this. So I guess I'm a little bit biased. I got to be open about that. But I do think that he's a live dog. Like, I think that Whittaker doesn't have the best chin. He's been hurt. He's been rocked. But I am picking Whittaker because he has fought dudes like this that can hit hard, and he's shown that he's the craftier, more vet savvy, and I mean, he just is. He's fought a higher level of competition. They have similar opponents, and like, man, say what you want about Brad Tavares, and I've heard some weird shit around like that win for Dricus. It's like that made me really look at Dricus with a side eye, because you can say whatever. I know MMA math doesn't work, but Robert Whittaker smoked that motherfucker, like knocked him out cold. So I don't think it's some great look that Dricus went tooth and nail with him. Like, I've heard some weird mental gymnastics shit about how that's some good win for Dricus and that's a good look. I don't think so, dude. Like, Robert Whittaker took care of Brad Tavares in short fucking order. So I know it's MMA math, but like, I think Whittaker's the better striker. I think Dricus might be a little more durable, but he's not some iron chin dude either. He's been knocked out. I just think Whittaker's the better fighter overall. If he gets chinned, that's cool. Like, you know, Dricus was the better man. And like I said, I do think he's live. I don't hate the shot on him at all, but I'm going to go with Whitaker. I'm not betting it. I think it's a little bit wide, but I do think he's the rightful favorite. I think he gets it done. But, hey, dude, I like that split because, yeah, like if Whitaker's just staying on the outside and it's kind of like tentative and Dricus is like having the moments, I could see it getting greasy.
Yep. All right. Lou, what's your thoughts?
So I agree with everything that both of you said. And I'm betting Duplessis anyway, because I just can't help myself here. Like, he's made me money. Like, and here's what I think can happen. And just so you know, it's plus 4,500. Could he get knocked? He's going to get knocked down 3 times. And he's going to meme sub Whitaker in the 3rd round. Because that's how he wins. He wins weird fights. The Till fight was like, he's killing him. Then, oh no, what is happening? And then the 3rd round, like, that was the Till fight. The Brunson fight was like, fuck. Okay, he's fine. Like, every fight with him is like, what is going on? Like, so, there's no rationale for me to pick Duplessis other than the narrative stuff. Also, the interview afterwards is going to be so goddamn funny. Because you know Adesanya is going to be there, sitting at cage side, listening to Duplessis, like, celebrate his African heritage. Like, you know this. So, yes, I'm rooting for this. And I'm willing to spend money for it to happen.
Fair enough.
And if I'm running bad, I'm just going to dump a bunch of money on Whitaker to mush him. Like,
dude, Robert Whitaker stands are some of the most insufferable, annoying-ass motherfuckers on Twitter. So I'm kind of rooting for you in that respect. I'm not some Whitaker lover, but yeah.
I have tons
Dricus
of respect
is super
for
live, dude.
I have tons of respect for Whitaker. I've liked watching him fight. His Romero fights are great. Like, he's had the Till fight was weird. Like, he's had some weird fights and he's had some really good fights. I think I'm just at the point now where I'm like, it's not even that the trilogy with Adesanya. It's like, I'm just kind of over him. Like, I know it's a horrible thing to say. He's not exciting. I'm kind of done with him. And Duplessis is just one of these dudes who he's probably going to have a job for life. He might be like the main event of UFC, Topeka in like 2 years. And I'll go. I'll be like, awesome. Like, Duplessis is in the main event. Like, that's great. Like, and like, let's put this way. If the breathing is truly fixed, if his cardio issues are better, because it can't be worse. If that has improved, this is a dude whose power carries even when he's gassed. Imagine what his power is going to look like the whole fight. And he's the kind of guy, he absolutely has one-punch knockout power here, too. Whitaker's been flatlined. Duplessis could be losing the whole fight and knock him out. And I think Duplessis' grappling is totally overlooked. And again, if the cardio is fixed, why can't he initiate some grappling here? Don't give me this Vettori, like, couldn't get Whitaker down thing. Like, Vettori stinks at grappling. And he doesn't, and not only that, Vettori, I don't think has practiced grappling in 3-4 years. If you look at his, like, the last couple of fights, he's not interested in it. He didn't try to take Cannonier down. He wasn't interested in any of that crap. He just wants to throw weird punches. Duplessis has no problem initiating grappling. Like, he's done it in almost every fight. I think maybe not the Tavares fight, but every other fight he initiated some form of grappling. So I don't know why he can't here if it's just not going when he loses the first round. And I think he's a great live bet too after one, because I don't know if Duplessis has decision equity here. Like, I think he loses every minute of this fight except for like 2.
Yeah, you just hit it on the head. I am still on Robert Whitaker for sure, and I'm waiting for the first round. If I miss the bus and it's a clear 30-27 or, which it probably will be, then oh well. But if I can get a chop down to minus 400, I'm going to do that, because I
know what else? I'm sorry, but you know what else you could do here, just for the people, as I know John Lee likes his parlays.
Right.
If Whitaker's the last leg of your parlay, easy hedge out for Duplessis.
Exactly.
Very easy, like cheap hedge out on a big parlay.
Exactly.
Dude, if you're on the Duplessis side, you are getting value, because, like, he's live and it will be crazy, man. Like, one of two things is going to happen. Either Duplessis, like Whitaker, will either be the dude that stops him in his tracks, or Duplessis will just keep, like, ascending in this crazy trajectory, like being in these tough spots against an increasingly tougher like test of competition or whatever, and then just keep passing it. That'll be insane, dude.
Yep.
Like, I mean, he survived in Homeland for like 3 seasons. So that's pretty good. Like, he's pretty
That
tough.
is true.
It took
Homeland
like literally an entire country took 2 countries to kill this guy in Homeland.
And
So
that
like,
show got terrible. So,
and by the way, I feel like nobody gets that this reference except for like you two, and like nobody else is gonna get this reference.
No, everybody's like Homelander from The Boys.
Yeah, no, not that guy.
The other white meat. But yeah, minus 400 on Bobby Knuckles, plus 300 on DDP. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for a live bet, and Bobby is still in the Zhongli parlay. I'm gonna say that right off the bat here, but it was hard when I had to get rid of 3 of the fights right away that were in the 4 digits. So Brandon Moreno, Pantoja 3 here. Pantoja's won the first 2 fights. Subbed him pretty nicely on the contender or on Tough, and yeah, just either gets his guys down and subs them in the last couple fights, or got the decision against Manao, where it was just kind of, a little bit of a Manao being Manao fight, but still Pantoja did what he needed to do. Good leg kicks in a lot of these fights. He's got a very good right hand. Striking's not amazing, a little bit slow for sure. I mean, the speed will be on Moreno's side, but I do think there's a psychological advantage to beating a guy multiple times. And I get Brandon Moreno has improved a lot. I get Brandon Moreno has got the cardio edge in this spot, presumably, but I think that Pantoja is just very confident and comfortable about where he wants to get the fight. And if he can get it there, if he can fight his type of fight, I do think he can fight that over a prolonged amount of time. And I went back, I watched the Royval fight. Royval is one of my favorite guys in this division. And I think I had been saying for a couple of weeks on the show, even, I was like, Royval is going to be flyweight champ eventually. Then I rewatched that Pantoja fight, and there's just a reaction that Royval had from the jump when Pantoja got him down that was just like kind of amazing to me, how panicked he started to look with the grappling and how kind of composed Pantoja does look in the grappling. And I do think that Pantoja has a very big advantage over Moreno. I think Moreno knows it. And I think that Pantoja gets the submission in this fight. I think somewhat early in the first couple of rounds. I'm probably, because I'm on Pantoja's side, hoping it ends in the first couple of rounds, because I could see this being a round or 2 where Pantoja gets the grappling and then gasses out and loses a decision also. But I'm going to trust the guy who's won the first couple times. I have kind of believed since Pantoja's made it into UFC, he was going to be a champion. And this might be unpopular to say, but I still kind of have my questions about Brandon Moreno. And I think preparing for the same guy for 5 years in a row, or however long he's been preparing with, Figueroa, I get that's, great fights, great wins in those fights also, but it's preparing for the same type of guy and kind of knowing what you're going against. And here he has gone with this guy. He's lost to him twice. I don't think that makes a very good, spot for a pretty heavy favorite here in Moreno. So I got Pantoja at plus 170. And I'm going to live with it. I do think he could win a decision also, which I know seems like impossible, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I just think he is much better than Moreno still to this day. So we'll see how I might look really stupid, but it is what it is. What's your thoughts on this one, Lou?
Yeah, this is tricky because everybody loves Pantoja and that line really ain't moving. So,
moved a little bit. It's at 160 now.
Okay, that's definitely some movement. I think I'm just gonna say this: if you like the Pantoja side, you bet him now. If you like Moreno, I'd probably wait to live bet or just wait till right before the fight, because I don't think Moreno is going to get a lot of betting steam at this price. I'm looking to just bet this as like a same game parlay with takedowns and overs. They're both pretty tough. They're both durable, and I think they both. It's interesting because I think Moreno's getting slept a little bit on the feet. I think his strikes are lethal. Like what he did to Kai Kara-France, when he was losing that fight, but he's all of a sudden throwing liver shots and he comes at different angles and he's keeping his head off the center line a little more. And I think he's not going to be worried about Pantoja bulldozing him because that's what Pantoja does. He uses the strikes and just kind of like barrels into you and like explodes. I think Moreno will be all right with that. I think he'll just back him up. They'll get against the cage. There'll be a lot of sprawling, like a lot of grappling here. I think it's going to be an excellent tactical fight. I favor Moreno because for this is not convincingly, but because I do think this fight goes the distance, at a decent clip, 60-70% clip probably. Moreno's tough. Pantoja's super tough. I just think Moreno knows he's been in the championship round so many times. He can take over. He'll know maybe how to steal rounds late. So by the slightest of margins, just because the over is shading a decision, I would say Moreno has more decision equity. He's not, to your point, Pantoja can absolutely win a decision here. He get 3 rounds. Yeah, this is a good split candidate. This is a perfect split candidate. But
I agree.
I also think Moreno might be an interesting live bet after one. But I don't know what I'm going to do with this fight yet, betting wise. I'll pick Moreno, but I'm talking 51-49 margins, and I'm being influenced by the over for the bet.
Totally fair.
I mean, I like Noah's play. He's got Moreno over 1.5 takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think Moreno gets a takedown and gets his back and subs him. So I like that a lot. Pantoja's get-up game's pretty good too. And I think those takedowns, you might be sweating it for a couple of rounds, but I think as the fight goes on, I think Moreno will get the takedowns a little easier and just try to kill off the clock. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good shot there, Noah. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
Okay, got to come clean on this one too. I am actually a certified Pantoja stan. He's my favorite flyweight. It's not that I'm a Brandon Moreno hater. It's just, I think that it's not that it's crazy to make Moreno the favorite. He's the champion. He has definitely leveled up. And I don't think it's going to be the same guy that Pantoja beat. I think that I'm not that naive. I understand that Moreno has gotten better. I just think the idea that Pantoja is washed now, I think that's kind of wishful thinking from Moreno fans. And I think it's also kind of crazy that I think people are kind of getting some short memories from this Figueiredo quadrilogy. Yes, he got the last laugh, he got the last word. But look at the fight before that. He had to get his belt back. And it's because Davison, for the second time, kind of beat the living shit out of him. He dropped him 3 times. People are oh, Moreno's so tough. Yes, he's tough. But I think Pantoja is more durable. And I think Pantoja hits a little bit harder. And Pantoja is definitely more lethal with the jiu-jitsu. I agree and I disagree with Lou with what he's saying. I think Moreno is a great live bet, but I don't think Pantoja can win a decision. But I don't think he's going to. I think he is going to do what he does. I think he wants this really fucking badly. I know this is pretty much Pantoja propaganda, but it is what it is. He's my dude. I'm riding with him. I will die on Alexander Pantoja Hill if need be. I bet him at 170, but yeah, I think that he will charge forward, walk through the fire. Yes, Brandon Moreno's a good striker, but yeah, I think Pantoja's just going to eat it. I think it's his time, and he will do what he needs to do to get to the takedown. Dude, his back take and rear naked choke process is very fucking smooth, and I think he does it again, man. I think Moreno gets PTSD when he has Pantoja on his back. He makes a mistake and gets choked. Let's fucking go. Pantoja season.
I agree. Plus 160 Pantoja now, minus 190 on Mr. Moreno. Should be a really great fight, though. And even if it's tactical, I'm not going to all of a sudden be scared. I just think 2 automatic people are he's can't win a decision. He definitely can. He's fought to 5 rounds before. I think this is going to be a great fight. Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. Very, very good featherweight title fight. I'm a huge Yair Rodriguez fan. I think that how mean he's gotten is exactly what he needed early on in his career that I was kind of worried about not quite developing. And just the way he won against Emmett there, beating him up the way he did, adjusting his game to be able to pick up the submission. Super, super impressive. He's not going to submit Alexander Volkanovski. But, dude, those head kicks are going to be live from round 1 to round 5. I truly believe that Yair could knock out Volkanovski in this spot here. I don't know. I always get worried when guys have their best performance in a loss, which arguably you could say the Islam fight is his best performance. I would say the Ortega fight or Korean Zombie, many of his other fights. Volkanovski's great. I do think that Father Time catches up rather quickly at these lower weight classes, or getting around that point for a guy who's heavily muscular, who has to cut a lot of weight to make this weight class, to fire Hadrina Volkanovski, who's going to eventually be like, he was testing out 155 for a reason. I think it wasn't just to fight the best in the world. And you can be like, oh, he cleared out the division. Sure. But there was something else to that 155 move. And I could see, if he wins this fight, him making the trip back up to 155, this is going to be one of his last fights at 145 for one reason or another. Maybe he goes in there and just beats up Yair, bullies him, uses the wrestling and works him. I could see it, but I'm on the Yair side, man. I might be crazy, but I just think that Yair catches him at some point in this fight. I like Yair by knockout myself, but this is another one where I feel like it's not KO or bust for Yair either. I think if this fight is fought at a certain range in the larger octagon, he could be at a very big advantage in the speed. Speed kills. This is another fight where speed could kill. So I'm on the Mexico champion bandwagon. I'm waiting for Yair versus El Valiente, Fernando Padilla in 2024, 2025, maybe 2024 International Fight Week, Mexico and Mexico. Yair versus Fernando. But in all seriousness, I think that this price is wrong, bitch. So I'm going to take my shot here. Everybody's got their big dog on this card. Here's my big dog, Yair. 2 cents. Sorry.
I like it, Bobby Barker. I don't hate the Yair side at all. I think he's like Dricus. I think he's super live. I'm picking Volk. I'm sick of eating Volkanovski crow. I'm just fucking sick of it. It's not something I feel super duper strongly on. So I'm just going to stay away. Like, I'm not going to be – a lot of people are going to be anchoring their parlays with Volkanovski. I'm not going to do that because whether he wins or not, Yair Rodriguez is going to go out there like a bat out of fucking Hades, and he is going to try and win this fight. Whether he does or not, it remains to be seen. But he will fucking try. Like, he will – this is another guy, like, believes that it's his moment. And he's the interim champion. I think he's getting a little charged up from that. So I don't hate the shot on Yair at all. I think he's a super duper live dog, which is why I ain't fucking touching it. I will, if I've died on Pantoja Hill, so be it. I will kick back and just watch this one. And yeah, I will be, I don't know, man. I'll kind of be rooting for Yair a little bit for because I'm such a Holloway stan, it'd be a little revenge. It's not really though. It's kind of that's kind of corny to root for his downfall just because he whooped Max, but I kind of can't help myself, man. A part of me will be rooting for Yair to just spark him because all of Volkanovski's fans would lose their fucking shit. But yeah, I think Volkanovski will get it done. I actually think that Yair will hurt him on the feet and Volkanovski will just turn into a wrestling rat and just smash him with ground and pound. So yeah, I'll say Volkanovski by third or fourth round TKO. I'll just say Frankie Eggers him.
Fair enough. Lou, what's your thoughts on this main event of International Fight Week?
All right, so I'm not betting it. Let me just get that out of the way. I think the one thing that is a false narrative here is that if it stays at kicking range, Yair's going to have an advantage. That part I agree with. But everybody's saying, but Volk knows how to crowd people, which he does. He knows how to get the dirty boxing going, get somebody against the cage, which he does. But I think people are sleeping on the fact that Yair, number one, has really good trips. He doesn't use them a lot, but they're sneaky and deceptive. And number two, he has unique, oddball video game striking from close range. I'm not just talking about the up elbow he threw against the zombie. His attacks are unique. Even when Ortega was close to him, he's throwing from weird angles. He's hitting people, and they're hard shots. He's hitting you with knees. He's hitting you with all sorts of it's almost like Prochachka shit when he's in super close, phone booth range. So I don't know that Volkanovski has a massive advantage when it comes to that. I don't know how highly you rate Makhachev's striking, But his striking looked pretty goddamn good against Volk. And that had nothing to do with the weight. He was just faster. He looked like the cleaner, better striker for a lot of those exchanges. So I think on the feet, it's Yair all day, and his durability is pretty good. The problem is going to be Volk's so smart. His intelligence as a fighter is super underrated, and he knows. Can he just go for takedowns? Because if he does, I think he's the stronger guy. Ex-rugby guy. He weighed, we hear it all the time. Oh, he used to weigh like 3,000 pounds or whatever.
Right.
Can he maintain top control on Yair and kind of make this a boring fight? I feel like he can. So I love this fight goes the distance. It's going to be nerve-wracking for sure. And I think either one has decision equity, man. Yair can piece him up for 3-4 rounds and absolutely win a striking-based decision.
Yep.
But I think Volk probably has the cleaner path because I also think that Volk can certainly hurt Rodriguez on the feet, but I do think he can just eat up minutes. Yair's not a great minute winner either. He's a moment winner, whereas Volk's not. I'm going to pick Yair to get a striking-based decision as the pick for the show. I'm not betting it.
Right.
We'll see how many beers I have. I'm free to change my mind. And another guy, if you anchor Volk in a parlay, which I wouldn't ever in this spot. Yair shouldn't be plus 350 against anybody or whatever he is. It's
plus 290 now.
Well, he shouldn't even be plus 290 against anybody.
Unless sweat it. Maybe, like, even if you think like Volk's going to win, why sweat that shit? Yair's going to make it so. He's going to try so hard.
I take that back. Against Brock Lesnar, I would say he should be a big underdog.
Fair enough. Hot take.
Brock against Bork. But so I'll pick Rodriguez to just kind of win. If you want the splits here too, I don't hate that either, man. I think this is going to be a super weird fight where I think Yair can hurt him, can knock him down. I think he can knock him down, and maybe he hesitates and doesn't really want to go to the ground with him.
I don't hate it at all. Plus 290, minus 380 on Mr. Volkanovski here. I just think that if you're betting Yair, bet him now at the money line if you're going to, because I don't think you're going to get to plus 300 again. So, I think it should be an interesting one. Real quick, before we leave, Zhongli parlay. It's not really a fat parlay. It's only at plus 940. So even after I get rid of all the fat, I did have to keep semen in there. So semen is in there. So
you always need semen in there.
You always need
especially semen and hookers go well together.
Semen and hookers. However, Hooker did not make the cut. Semen, Vitor Petrino, Alonzo Menifield. We got Mr. Pantoja or Bobby Knuckles and Pantoja as the second dog to get a plus 940. So again, that is Simon, Seaman, Petrino, Menifield, Whitaker, Pantoja, plus 940. Put $10 on it, wins you almost 100. So, or wins you over 100. That is my thoughts on this card overall. Lou, do you have any kind of farting thoughts?
No, it's a good card. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to talk about these things 2 or 3 more times today.
Yeah, it's the beauty of doing what you do for some reason. Which
I will actually here. Let me kind of at least say this. So
yes,
not that a lot of you in the chat or you two get a chance to watch my Friday show, but I'll be taking some time off after this week, an indefinite amount of time from creating content and from Twitter for the most part. So I'll talk about it more on Friday. Like that's more for my show than anything else because nobody's watching that show for my picks at that point. They're watching it for comedy. So tune in Friday and I'll talk about all that. And as always, an absolute pleasure. My favorite show to do that is not my show is this show.
Hey, I
don't even like doing my show that much.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We always love having you on. You're always welcome when you make your return. And yeah, we'll check it out Friday to hear more, but appreciate it, man. 2 cents. With final thoughts, what you got the rest of the week?
Well, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me. This was a great show. Nice little reunion spot. So, man, Lou, always a pleasure. Best of luck. Best of luck to everyone in the chat. I am going to do my weigh-in show on Friday as usual, but it'll probably be a ceremonial weigh-in pregame. So be on the lookout for that. But, yeah, dude, thanks again for having me. Lou, always a good time. Best of luck to all y'all. And, yeah, man, let's fucking go. Pantoja time.
Yeah. Pantoja Island. That'll do it for the show. We got an LFA this week. I will get the LFA up tomorrow. It's a tricky one from Brazil. But appreciate you, Jack. You're fantastic. I'm glad that the 5 o'clock starts working out for you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Brian, Moise, Justin, Alex, Noah, anybody, Jimmy. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate the support. I continue to do this because I enjoy it. And once I don't, I will stop doing it. So appreciate that. Enjoy being able to talk to fights with you two guys. And good luck on everybody's bets this weekend. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow for the LFA show.